That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. And
realistic.
Well, and contextual for where we sit in the world, in the real world, the so-called real world, this moment.
Is this even the real world? I don't even know.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy?
Who knows?
Who notes?
Who notes? Freddie notes.
Caught in a strange life.
Landslide?
No.
Escape from
Respect for humanity. Huh? I don't know if that's true.
You have to respect the manatees, man. They haven't done anything.
So, are we on? What's the latest? What's going on? You didn't do your typical entree. Are we still?
Hey, Dennis. Hey, Dennis. Welcome back to the show, man. Happyhour.fm, motherfucker. This is a podcast show, and we last week, you don't know this, but last week I figured out a way to do a cooler video version that no one ever sees, where rather than before it was you know how in Zoom calls sometimes it switches to the current speaker as the full screen, and then another person pipes up, and then it's the full screen.
Yes.
I figured out a way to split the screen so we can tell when I'm talking and you're like nodding off or whatever, and vice versa. But also, it puts the subtitles underneath each of us.
What we're saying?
Like the actual, what we're saying. The actual words.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's magic.
Even if we're like if we're like stumbling and like not knowing like what we want to say or not thinking, not centered on. Well, I mean to say is well.
Yes.
Well, yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. No. How many times you hear people do that? Right.
Even
go,
when.
Well, yeah. Well, no. Well, yeah. Well, no. And I always say the same thing. I said, I don't think it can be both.
Don't be so loud, Dennis. Get closer to the mic.
Fuck the baby.
Why are you so loud, Dennis?
Little.
Yeah. Babies are the worst.
Oh, this one. What a doll.
Yes.
What a doll.
Yes.
Bernadette.
And especially when you were doing your Cormac McCarthy riffs, which we need to continue with because those were amazing.
Well.
Oh,
case in point.
Has homework been done?
I want to read you something, a little excerpt, and I'm calling the excerpt.
You say the P in excerpt, huh? Excerpt.
Pay attention now. The missing scouts.
Oh no! What happened to them?
They found the lost scouts hanging head downward from the limbs of a fire-blacked Palo Verde tree. They were skewered through the cords of their heels with sharpened shuttles of green wood, and they hung gray and naked above the dead ashes of the coals where they'd been roasted until their heads had charred and the brains bubbled in the skulls and steam sang from their nose holes. Their tongues were drawn out and held with sharpened sticks thrust through them, and they had been docked of their ears, and their torsos were sliced open with flints until the entrails hung down on their chest.
Happy hour.
Oh, I'm so tired. I think I'll go to sleep now.
Jesus,
Is there any wonder why some of my dreams lately have been filled with carnage?
That's some True Detective season 1 shit.
Their charred heads exploded with their brains dripping.
Boiled.
What?
Yeah. Look. Yeah, let's set that aside for what it is. I don't want to address any of that visual.
This is from Cormac McCarthy's masterpiece. His masterpiece. Let me just read something to you. I meant to.
Okay.
McCarthy employs a neo-biblical rhetoric, a soaring, pulsing, always stirring diction without parallel in American writing today. Whew.
That is a diction without parallel. I'll give it that.
That's some shit, man. Reads like a conflation of the Inferno, the Iliad, and Moby Dick. An extraordinary, breathtaking achievement. And I'm going to find you. I did this just before we aired, but I've got a passage that's a little bit longer that describes what hell would be like on Earth. What hell would be like on Earth. And just as uplifting as this last passage.
God, that's some dark. Well, I'm feeling good now.
Well, listen, you wanted to revisit McCarthy. I waited till you said it, and now you're so stunned.
Your colorful prose was not about rotting corpses hung from trees.
Steam running from their noses. Good Lord. Singing. Is that what it says? Steam singing from their noses?
I mean...
Steam sang from their nose holes. I know the game. You have to work that into a sentence.
That's like
in a casual conversation. That's your homework.
You put the kettle on for tea, and you're like, sounds like steam singing through dead children's nose holes.
Oh, no. Easy with the dead children. There are dead children in it. But this particular passage was not about children. It was about scouts. The two scouts who went ahead and...
Okay, I was thinking Boy Scouts, and I got confused.
Oh, really? I wonder why you... Well, even... So, wait a minute.
Did they get their brain-boiling badges?
That whole passage, you pictured Boy Scouts hanging in the tree? You sick son of a bitch. Is that what you did?
I'm the sick son of a bitch
you're
here.
Stunned into...
Okay. I didn't. No one gave me the context about who was scouting what.
You obviously didn't know anything about Blood Meridian. You didn't know that it was set in Mexico in the Wild West in the mid 1800s.
I did not.
You didn't have that background.
I did not.
I should have started with that. I thought that you had at least a bit. I thought we had talked about it, but then if we did talk about it, the assumption would be that you remembered, or that I said something that was memorable in the first place. So I don't know. We could go back. We could go to episode. I've talked about them before.
Yeah.
See, you're lost already.
Yes. Let me jump into a thing that happened this week for me.
An anecdote.
An anecdote. We this weekend was the annual festival in a nearby town, where it's basically they replicate the San Fermin festival in Pamplona, where everyone dresses in white with a red handkerchief, and there's a bull run and bull fights and general all-around merriment, where the streets are just packed and the bars are packed, and there are these marching bands that go around the street, just exciting people and playing music, and everyone follows the band and dances, and lots of.
Is it modern Latin
Modern Latin
music?
There are modern songs. There are some classical. There's some classic Spanish songs, but yeah, it's all danceable music.
Is it the thumping drive?
I mean, to dance, you need some thump, but there's a tuba.
Some thump or bump. To be fair, thump or bump.
There are tubas and trombones and saxophones and a bass drum and a snare.
Wow, snare.
Wander around
with all that brass, just a snare.
No, it's actually one of these rolling things where that particular drummer has like 3 drums, but the snare is the most salient when they're playing.
And they're moving because they're marching.
Yeah, it's not like a marching band like you think of in the States, where you're marching on a football field. They're marching down these cobblestone streets, but like from bar to bar, and then they play a couple songs, and then they put down their instruments, and somebody goes in and orders a huge fucking thing of beer, and they all share it around, and then they go to the next bar. It's cool. It's
sounds like my kind of band.
It's happiness all around.
So I got a report on the music note, and you can go back to your story, but that in a reminder, a footnote, a bookmark, if you will, a conversation I had with Tommy from the band Brothers Proper. But anyway, there you were, parties going on, great time.
So
music.
We went. The bull run happens at 12 o'clock noon, and if you try and go before then there's no place to park. And if you go after, then there are some places there's some people just go to watch the bull run and then leave. And we've seen bull runs. We don't need to see more. So we.
I know. I feel the same way. I mean, you've seen one bull run, you've seen them all. What the fuck? What kind of reality do you live in?
Yeah.
That you say that without any
Spain, man.
Thought that maybe it's a little bit of a different kind of attitude most people would have. I mean, we've seen bull runs. I mean, come on.
I've seen 5 or 6. Yeah. And anyway, but
You're
like to be able to park. Anyway, we went shortly after the bull run was finished, which is when they open up all the streets and all the partying commences. And so we went and we hung around and partied for a while. Like, my wife really digs that atmosphere of let's follow the band around and with our beer in our plastic cup and just sort of dance.
We're the same way. We're the same way when we're healthy.
Yes. And we took the kids, and they were well behaved, even though they were not entertained at all. But sometimes when you're a kid, you have to be bored. And my kids definitely suffer from a lack of boredom. They're so entertained all the time. They have a screen around somewhere or something, and almost never are they
an abundance of activity.
Almost never are they just made to sit there and like come up with a game to entertain yourself in the way that I was, but your generation was more, and the previous generation was even more than that, of just like, let's fucking throw stones at each other or whatever. But
in case my brother Mike is listening, it was intended for you, for your forehead, when I turned you into a unicorn.
Exactly, right?
For at least a few minutes. I remember wanting to take my hand and push the bump back in. right. But I was afraid it would flatten out like a flattened, iron
Pancake.
nail or some kind.
Yeah. So anyway, it was good for them to be bored for a little bit. This was on Saturday, but on Saturday we had tickets to go see a special thing in the bull ring, not a bullfight, but something called the recortadores. Recortadores, which are these stupid young male knuckleheads that get in the bull ring and with no cape or anything, let the bull charge them and then step out of the way.
Did you send me?
I might have. You did.
Yeah. You sent me a little video clip of a dude who was astounding.
And the very best of them will do this crazy thing of jumping over the bull, where they will be there waiting for the bull to come, run up to the bull, jump and flip in the air and land like they're not jumping over the bull as much as jumping up and letting the bull pass underneath them and then landing.
Right.
But holy shit, is that impressive?
Big ass bulls.
And it's impressive, but also so fucking stupid. Like the best one, these were all men between 18 and 25, which is the age you have to be to do something that dumb.
Right.
And the craziest one was this 18-year-old, and he looked kind of little, like but he did this thing where he would like put his hands in his pockets and just wait for the bull to come up, and then would like jump and flip with his hands in his pockets the whole time, land with his hands in his pockets, having the bull passed underneath him. And in theory, it was this like competition or whatever. And
yeah, sure.
And when he did not win his bracket of the competition, the audience was furious because he's this fucking child.
Yes.
And however, I'm old enough now where I look at this 18-year-old doing that amazing thing, and my first thought is his mother must just be dying watching this happen. Because
but you thought he was the best?
But he was clearly the best. I went to this festival when I first got here like 16 years ago or whatever, pre having kids, and I saw this activity, but it was done not with bulls but with smaller cows, and there they were doing a lot more jumping, and the jumping is way more impressive. It's one thing to apparently what the other guys like to do is they let the bull come towards them and they step to the side, and their intention is to lean back, arching their back such that like almost their shoulder blades hit the back of the bull as it's going underneath. Which is also super freaking impressive, but not as cool as jumping over the ball.
Yeah. So it's sort of like NFL. We're seeing these clips every week now. And by the way, a story coming about the NFL opening up and a few things that you care less about than anybody who will be listening. Is these about the runners jumping over the top. And last week, a guy timed it, and he landed on the neck and shoulders of the man he was trying to jump over, so that his private area was literally in the man's ear. And the announcers laughed and said they showed it in slow motion, and they kind of froze the frame, and they said, "This is what you don't want to have happen when you try to jump over the top of somebody."
Nobody likes an ear crotch, right?
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
No, I mean, there probably are people that do. Like that's got to be a thing.
Well, of course it is. It's,
I mean,
one of my things.
It is a hole in the human body. So.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
So
let me read some more Cormac McCarthy.
No, but and so that was impressive, and the kids were reasonably impressed with that. And then and my wife had such a good time that we decided to do a repeat on Sunday. And on Sunday we did the exact same thing, except that we didn't have tickets to any bull activity. But on Sunday, my son's best friend was also there. And,
that's fun.
And also they were selling. So a thing that we've been wanting to buy for a while is a Rubik's Cube. So a couple years ago, I gave both my kids Rubik's Cubes, and they were like, "Yeah, this is okay." And then one of my son's better friends, got really into Rubik's Cube solving, and because your typical Rubik's Cube that has like the stickers of the colors and stuff on it, that's one thing. But then now they make other ones where like the color is actually part of the plastic for each of the squares, and they turn a lot faster. You can go flip, 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 and like all the Rubik's Cube competitions are done with those faster cubes. And my son's friend has two of those 3x3x3 cubes, and he borrowed one and got pretty good at solving that with a faster cube, and so it's always been our intention to buy him a better Rubik's Cube at some point. But in the stalls where they sell just garbage toys for the children, where all the children go up and are like, "Mommy, Daddy, I want this stupid fucking teddy bear," or whatever, they had one full of Rubik's Cubes, and they had some of the good fast ones, and they were only like €5 or something. I expected it to be twice that when we actually bought one, and so I said, "Yeah, we'll get this for you." And so he spent the rest of the day just practicing and going flip, 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 flip with that, and he's gotten to the point where he knows the most basic algorithm. Like if you Google how to solve a Rubik's Cube, he's memorized all of that, and will solve it within 2 or 3 minutes, which seems super fast to me. But
well, I don't know that I've ever solved it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'd say it's fast to me. I might have once.
So on this Sunday afternoon after we bought the cube, he would come to me with a solved cube and be like, "Hey, Daddy, mix this up for me," and I would mix it up and give it back to him, and then 5 minutes later he'd be like, "Hey, it's solved again. Mix this up again." But what he doesn't know yet are the shortcuts, because like this is the most simple way to solve a thing, but for sure the experts that do it in like 30 seconds can like see patterns and shit and be like, "Oh, rather than go through this whole process that I normally go through, I can see that if I do these 7 moves, then we get to this other later position," or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, he's going to start learning that. But
How old is he?
10.
10?
10, yeah.
How's your daughter?
Daughter's 14.
14. Okay. I got him reversed.
And
I had the boy is older for a moment.
And anyway, we had another lovely day in this just festive atmosphere with the beers freely flowing, but not
great.
Too much. But you're dancing the whole time, you're moving around, you're on your feet, and you're never that drunk, and just a lovely way to spend a weekend.
Well, we had here a fun day Sunday, fairly typical of driving west for an hour or so to go to one of the many coastal towns on Lake Michigan, be it Holland or St. Joseph, which is one of the top beaches in the world, actually.
You mentioned that before. I don't know about
Silver
the world,
Beach. But... No, the world. The world, which is, it may be a list of 25 or 50, but it's the world.
Last episode, you said that Kalamazoo College or whatever was the longest running university in the nation.
Continually running, yes.
And it's actually just in the state of Michigan, not in the nation.
It's good as national. It's almost the same thing.
Look, as they say in Michigan, talk to the man. Right?
You're fact checking me, you dick. Really? This is like throwing the red flag down.
I'm just saying.
Let me tell you something.
I'm sure St. Joseph is the best beach in the world.
Most of everything I say is exaggerated or untrue. So
because the Caribbean, the people in the Caribbean are like doing tourism towards your beach in Michigan. I'm sure. It's called Saint something, so that's like.
Yep.
Saint Joe. Continue. Is this after Jesus' daddy? Is that Saint Joe?
After what?
Jesus' daddy?
Yeah. Well, apparently, yeah.
Sure.
But we went to what we hoped and kind of consider to be one of our favorite restaurants, the Wicks Park Cafe, which of course is across the street from Wicks Park, but had a nice outdoor seating and I love to order this. You'll appreciate it. I get mussels in a
Me too, bro.
Garlic. Yeah, man. In a garlic, oily kind of sauce that who knows, may have olives in it, Kalamata olives or things of that nature.
That's like all we eat here in Spain.
And on the side, I make sure, for the side dish, I make sure that the...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah. What you got there, Brusky?
Got a Mao. It sounds like what my cat says, but it's the beer of Madrid. Mahou. Yes. If the people in Madrid go anywhere in Spain, they order a Mao because they're so fucking proud of where they're from. I see you with your Smittix.
Can't beat it.
Continue with your Smidwick.
So I scour the menu and I make sure that they have a pasta dish, and then I order a side of plain pasta. I eat the mussels, some directly from the shells, some in the broth. And when all the shells are gone and there's a big bowl of broth that's well over an inch deep in the bowl, full of delicious things and full of mussels, I take that pasta, whatever they serve. Angel hair is the best. And I dump it in the bowl and I mix it up, and then I apply copious quantities of Parmesan cheese and black pepper.
Fuck yes.
And that becomes my second dish for usually $1.50 side of spaghetti.
You are not as dumb as you look. Holy shit. That's because
most people don't say that. Most people say, wow, you're really as dumb, if not dumber than you look.
I'm sorry, you're smarter than you look. I have long said, and every time we order this, I say that we have a thing here where you order clams in green sauce, and what it is clams in this garlic, oil, and parsley sauce. And I've long said that the best part about clams is the sauce.
Yeah.
And like you end up, the royal me ends up with an empty clamshell, just like scooping out the sauce, just like slurp it up.
Well, this is the alternative to that.
But it had never occurred to me to be like, let me get something to fill this bowl with to slurp up the rest of the sauce.
Part two is this. I usually order an entree because, after all, the spaghetti and the pasta is only another $1.50 or $3 at the most.
And you're not.
And I end up taking that home.
Okay.
In a to-go, and ending up then with a secondary dish, such as thin crust bubbly pizza, or
is that good to go though?
Caesar salad with pan-fried salmon, astride it. Astrode.
Salmon estrade. I had for dinner tonight. I've discovered that I've got an apparatus to steam fish, and lately I've been buying these gorgeous salmon fillets that are like big honking things, and throw it in the steamer for 15 minutes, and it with a little bit of salt on both sides, and holy shit, is that delicious!
Yeah,
salmon is the best.
Try this. Add to the steam dill and capers. The salt, dill, and capers, and a couple turns of black pepper.
Some black pepper would certainly help. When you say add to the steam, you mean throw on top of the salmon before you put it in the steaming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Capers, are the seeds. Capers are the seeds of the nasturtium flower, an edible flower.
Who doesn't know that? Capers are the seeds of the nasturtium flower.
You're so right. Anybody who's listened to this podcast knows that. There's probably at least 4 episodes where this is discussed. Sometimes the first time I couldn't remember the name of the flower.
That's why they call thefts capers, I think. Because you're stealing the.
That's what you say when you see a robber in your house. Nasturtium. What are you going to do with him? I'm gonna nasturtium.
Yes.
Sure.
And then they say, and then the police say, "Sir, have you been drinking?"
Yes.
I'm going to nasturtium. I'm going to nasturtium good.
Yes. I'm gonna go after him. When I catch him, I'm gonna nasturtium. He's gonna know he's been nasturtium. That's for damn sure.
Do you mean take him down to the station, sir? Yeah, nasturtium.
Go take him down to the news station down there, the one that just wasn't there 2 years ago. It's a new one, news station.
Indeed. So salmon is just the best. It's fucking expensive, but
yeah,
I have money.
Well, speaking of fish, guess what time of year it is? The fall. Fish on Salmon River, New York, coming up.
Indeed.
Coming up. Much excitement. Probably about our 10th year in a row, something like that, or more. God only knows. Could be 20 years. Who knows? I don't know. I can't remember. We should count them up.
That's the best way to know a number, in my experience.
Is what? Count them up?
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. I think I'd rather just guess or make it up.
Huh.
So and I'm looking at what's happening in the state of Michigan, because as we got a little rain and as the weather cools, which it has, in fact, we were below freezing tonight. We woke up this morning, it was 48. And didn't hit 60 until about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the leaves are starting to fall a bit, and the NFL season has started. And here's the report.
Yes.
The report. Detroit Lions travel to the stadium in Kansas City and play the world champion, Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs in their home stadium the night that they unfurled for the first time the banner commemorating them as world champions, and the Lions beat them. The Detroit Lions beat them. This city of Detroit and the state has never seen, in all of its years since the 50s, a higher amount of anticipation for a resurgent Lions team. We're in the middle of history here. You and I. I know you're excited.
I'm so like, I think I just peed myself a little bit.
Oh, that's so good. That's good to hear, man. Good to hear. As intended. As intended.
You know.
My other team, however,
Yes.
became embarrassed. Now, here's the storyline that you don't care about. There's a quarterback by the name of Aaron Rodgers.
I know this story already.
Who's played for a team called the Packers, and he's been their quarterback for many years. I think that's
Green Bay, Wisconsin. If you'd like some
help.
It
is Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Okay.
He is at 39 years old.
Old as fuck.
This year, he is the oldest player in the NFL. The oldest player. He was traded from the Packers to the Jets.
Yep.
For an outrageous amount of money, and was all but christened the new coming of the new day because the Jets football team is got such a good defense that and a good offense that with the right quarterback and the spark, they will win a Super Bowl. This is how good they are.
They would.
Aaron Rodgers played his debut against the Buffalo Bills.
On
Here's
what
the
date? First
part of the story. Part 1, debut, or as they say in Montana, debut. He played for 75 seconds until he ripped his Achilles tendon, and now he's out for the season. That's part 1. Part 2 is
I have some other depth to add to this.
Bill's quarterback Josh Allen, one of the top quarterbacks in the league, threw an astounding 3 interceptions and fumbled the ball once, and was solely responsible, nearly solely responsible for them losing to the Aaron Rodgers-less Green Bay Packers, who had to play their backup quarterback in an offense that had been practicing, filmed on television in Hard Knocks, which is a series that goes on every week. They pick one team and they show it. Aaron Rodgers, the hype. When he walked into the stadium, it was one of the loudest recorded exultations of the Jets base ever in the world. He played for 75 seconds. Zach Wilson, I believe is his name, came in and ended up being adequate, and at the end, good enough to seal a win, and the Bills went home with a loss. Bad news for Bills fans. Bad news. Maybe it's the wake-up call they need.
I have some extra information about this topic, strangely.
Strange. It is strange. I'm surprised.
Aaron Rodgers is a 9/11 skeptic. Like he thinks that we haven't investigated and that really the 9/11 was an inside job, and he's been vocal about this. And so on 9/11, someone broke his Achilles heel to shut him up about telling the secret about 9/11.
I knew there was something like that behind it.
I'm just
you
saying.
want to see a video, maybe add it to the notes if it's as chilling to you as it is to me. There's a slow-mo.
If you would take the time to send it to me, which you won't.
Hey, my fucking job.
Fine. I'll go Google slow-mo Aaron Rodgers.
Slow-mo of his calf, because when his Achilles tendon snaps,
yes,
his calf muscle vibrates like it's a cat in a paper bag. It is grotesque.
Great. That's...
Wait a minute. Let me read.
Yeah.
Wait. I just in case you missed the first part.
Do you have
I want to draw your attention to this. As a handyman, I'm impressed. How do they hang them? How do they hang them upside down in the tree? With sharpened shuttles of green wood.
That's what I would use.
Skewered through the cords of their heels. And then tied with
through their Achilles tendons. It's all connected, man.
Boom.
I bet one of the scouts' names was Roger Aaron.
Wait, There's a footnote. There's an endnote. Let's go to the back of the book and see what it says.
Just saying.
This analogy, this true fact, this happening of the Scouts, is not intended to predict the outcome of the opening game between the Jets and the Buffalo Bills in the year of our Lord 2023. I knew it.
I'm just saying. It seems so. How could anyone be such a fool as to deny this obvious?
Yes, right.
It's like, what?
He's also, I think he's got issues. He made up some shit, apparently, about his reason, his rationale, and his approach to being so-called vaccinated, which apparently violated protocol. But because, of course, he is the amazing Aaron Rodgers, it was not. It did not result in any type of a penalty. So here's the thing. Now imagine this. This is a Nostradamus moment. Every time there's a Bills game, the three brothers are in communication via text. We got a little text going. Looking for a good game, this
The
and
three
that.
brothers, you and your brothers.
Me and my brothers.
It's not like the quarterback's brothers or whatever.
No.
Okay.
And there's this interview of Aaron Rodgers being interviewed by John McEnroe of tennis fame, who's a well-known diehard New York Jets fan, long-suffering Jets fan. He actually does a very good job in this interview and asks some very good pointed questions. One of the responses is from Aaron
Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, whatever the fuck his name is. He says this is the pressure the question was about pressure on you. He said it isn't about pressure, it's about understanding where we're at this moment and accepting it and welcoming the manifestation of what's about to happen with our preparation and our team. We will make a run. We will win the Super Bowl.
That's true of life, man.
Okay, all right. So I write to my brothers, being a diehard Bills fan, of course, and suffering through 4 straight appearances to the Super Bowl without winning. Can we talk about that a minute? Probably not.
Nah.
I write to my brothers and say, the only manifestation that Aaron Rodgers is going to get is when his face manifests with the dirt. 75 seconds later, I'm right. Nostradamus.
Are you right or are you guilty? What's the causality here?
Well, that's for you to decide, okay? That's you
That's for the police and the authorities.
You want to try to get into this creepy space that I call me? Come on. You'll regret it. You will regret it.
As long as my nose doesn't sting.
Not your nose. Your nose hole.
I'm sorry.
It is the worst way to describe your nose. If you just say somebody, listen, you've got like a booger or something on your nose, that's one thing. But if you were to say to them instead, hey, listen, you've got a booger on your nose hole, that's serious imagery.
Which one? I mean, which one? There's 2, right? Just
your nose hole.
I mean, your skull only has the one nose hole, but
what?
That?
What?
Your skull only has the one nose hole.
Oh,
because the nose is
with
cartilage.
Albeit with 2 entrances in the skull.
Yeah. All right.
Well, you throw an image of a skull, nose holes on the. I'm sure our listener, if he's still there, is fascinated. Is it still the guy who's driving back and forth to Kansas for some reason? Who was that dude?
Yeah, he
bowed out, right?
I think he parked in Alabama somewhere. Yeah, that was good times. What else was I going to say? So my school has started here officially. Thank the Lord. It's nice to get back into school. And my daughter came home today with a story that in her ethics and values class, which is like, I guess it's a thing, they were talking about the ever famous trolley problem. Do you know that from the name?
Nope.
Okay. Trolley problem is a typical ethics thought experiment where you imagine that you are standing on a bridge and a train is coming in, and the train is going to somehow kill these 3 or 5 people that are standing on the tracks or have been tied to the tracks. I don't know. And you have a switch that you can flip that's going to move the train so it only kills one person on these other tracks. And the question is, do you flip the switch?
Why is that a question?
Because it's obvious to you that it's yes?
That you would save 4 lives for the sake of one?
Yes.
Do I have this right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The more default answer is no. That's everyone says yes, right? The next level of the question is you're standing there and the train's going to come and kill these 4 people, but you have the option to knock some fat guy off the bridge, and he will stop the train from killing these 4 people.
But he's dead?
But he'll die, yeah. And the question is, do you do that?
No.
And that's a little harder, right? It's like, no.
No, it's not hard. No.
Okay. So, right, but it's...
And the next level is...
Well, there are next levels, but it goes to what's called consequentialism of
Of course it is.
Is the moral correct thing to do based on what the outcome is or not?
Well, in the second case, no matter what, one person dies.
And in the first case, the same thing. The math is the same.
Yeah, right. So I don't know it doesn't sound like much of a dilemma to me, but
in the first case, you're flipping a switch that causes one person to die that would not have died if you hadn't pulled the switch.
Who wouldn't have died? You said they were all going to die.
No. There's 5 people on one side and one person on the other side, and the train's going to hit the person on the 5. Hit all 5 people on one side, but you can flip the switch so it only kills the one person over here.
You have to.
So you have to. So you're killing this innocent person.
What do you mean innocent?
I mean, we don't know what they did. We don't know what the other 5 people did either.
You mean you killed a person who otherwise wasn't in danger?
Correct.
I don't know if that's innocent.
Okay, so
they're tied to the tracks for a reason. They've done something.
Right, but then you have the other option of this guy that you're going to throw over the thing to stop the train from coming would not have died, but
he's not involved. He didn't do anything to get tied on the tracks. That guy is innocent of whatever the people tied at the tracks did. I don't assume that the people are tied at the tracks for a bad reason. Let's assume they're tied there for a good reason.
But maybe they're not even tied. Maybe they're just standing there.
Well, wait a minute.
They're not.
Then one of the options would be
say
that
they
they jump out of the way. Tied to the tracks has got to be the way you go.
It's a thought experiment. So, but it's do you take action to cause the death of one person to save 5?
Yes.
But do you take action to throw someone to stop the
No.
death of 5? Right.
No.
But like the math there doesn't work out. It's just a feeling that you have.
Yeah, why do you mean the math doesn't work out?
It's the same math. You're killing one person to save 5.
No, you're killing one person to save 6.
No, in the second experiment, there's no one person on the other side.
Oh, there's not?
No, the train's going to kill these 5 people, or you can stop it.
I thought there's a guy tied to the tracks.
No,
And then here's it. Well,
the people are just standing there.
You've been a little imprecise.
They're having their morning coffee, standing on the train tracks for some reason.
So the second one is there's no single person tied to the tracks.
There's no one tied.
There's a guy
5 people that will die if you
describe
if you do
fat
nothing.
guy. So what about your insistence of describing him as a fat guy? Does that make him somehow more deserving?
No, it doesn't. And in fact, I dislike that framing of the thing. But that's like how's it going to stop a train? Yeah,
that's the way it is.
Yeah. He's a normal, thin, young, strapping dude.
You're right about that. You could describe him as a near giant-like man, big enough to stop a train.
Right, and he's extremely attractive too.
So here's my question. What did the giant man do for a living?
Nope, you can't ask that. You have to act in the moment.
How did he handle his enormity? Was he a good guy of good conscience? Because one would wonder, I wish I knew what he would do.
You might try and push him off and he might like flip you over.
Say, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I was going to jump anyway.
No, but do you understand the
dilemma?
The moral math dilemma?
Yes.
But anyway, so they were doing this in like the third day of high school, and and on the first question of do you flip the switch to kill one and save the 5, everyone was unanimous about yes, we'll flip the switch to save the 5 and kill the 1, except for one kid who was like, no, let's kill the 5. I find hilarious.
They immediately took down his name and number.
Because he's
why he did that? He pictured himself as the 1.
Well, but then another subset of this is what if one of them is your mother or your family member or your kid, like the math all switches around. Anyway, It's just these thought experiments to think about morality and what it means to do things. Like we're never going to be faced with these.
And it's part likely of a kind of, it's Kohlberg's theory of moral development, that you can train and educate young people to become more morally and ethically responsive. And Kohlberg is the researcher who proved it.
I will link to that.
Based on my bachelor's degree in what? Human development and learning. You wondered what I did. Well, nothing. I never did anything with it.
Did you develop as a human?
No, to use that training. I went to college to become a grade school teacher. And that's why I took a major in human development and learning.
Interesting.
But never, I did teach Catholic catechism as a college student. Or was I a high school student? I was a high school student. And I told them in their religious education class, which got me in a lot of trouble, that they weren't allowed to swear in the class and saying things like shit and damn and stuff like that. They got the biggest kick out of me using swear words to describe what they weren't allowed to do. That they kind of liked me, although at least one or two did it because I was reported and reprimanded and might have even been taken down from my volunteer post. Not a lot of people who can claim to be fired as a volunteer, but I've managed to upset the apple cart.
Look, what a skill. It's like even when people aren't paying me, they don't want me.
Indeed.
So anyway, just to finish, apparently she decided, I haven't contributed to this class in the first 3 days. I'm going to raise my hand. And she raised her hand and like eloquently described all the moral conundrums presented here. And the teacher was like, "Holy shit!"
Your daughter did?
Yeah. And
shit.
my 14-year-old and the teacher was like, "Whoa, what is your name? Let me write down your name because you are going to get a good grade in this class." And so she was all chuffed, as they say in Britain.
Chuffed.
Happy.
Chuffed. So I'm on my way to Cowboy Night down at the Old Dog.
The dirty boots. That was last week.
Don my Cobra shirt, my cowboy boots, and my black cowboy hat, and head on down.
We are going to have to miss next week, I'm sorry to say.
Okay.
Because of me. Because
yes.
I'm going again this year to Croatia.
Oh, are you?
And
well, that's fun.
Yeah, and it's a lot of my same friends that are there.
So yeah,
it's
man,
going to be good to get back with those people. And we've got these 3 nights of amazing after parties planned.
Oh, no kidding! I remember these.
The first is at this winery that has always been next to the hotel that the resort hotel that we stay at, and I've always been curious, but we're gonna check that out. And anyway, I'm not gonna suffer. Don't worry about it.
Well, I've got news for you. Guess who's coming to see me? You're the Pudley.
Ah, the doctor.
Pudley.
The doctor's in the
18
house.
holes of golf. 18 holes of golf.
When is that?
On Tuesday, the 19th. The
Okay.
day before our missed engagement.
Tuesday the 19th is when
Yes.
I'm giving my presentation.
There we go.
You can.
So we'll be.
It'll probably be at the exact same time because it's going to be like 5 p.m. here, which is going to be like your morning. So,
yeah, we're teeing off at 10 o'clock.
That's almost exactly the time that I'm teeing off at the podium. So
Go figure, man.
just
Go figure.
like feel
Go
my
figure.
vibes, man.
Go figure. Okay, wait. I got to see if I remember the first part of this song I wrote. We've heard it a little bit of it last episode.
So
Let's see. Been in anguish since you're gone. It's almost like I never left.
yeah,
I'm so tired of all these lies. Let me tell you the truth. I never loved the way we live, the way we argued day and night. But I'm so hurt.
you're so what?
Hurt. I'm so hurt since you left. I can't go on. It's too much.
Too many
I'll have
hurts.
to write it down. I'll write it down. Wait a minute. Some more Cormac McCarthy.
It's like paper and pen were invented for this.
This is one final thing. Cormac McCarthy. Let me just open the book to any part I've ever read.
Okay.
Find a page.
What page is
And-
this?
Point to it.
Page number?
Page number 92.
Okay, go.
They spent the night in the corral of a hacienda where all night men kept watchfires burning on the azoteas or roofs. 2 weeks before this, a party of campesinos had been hacked to death with their own hoes and partly eaten by hogs while the Apaches rounded up what stock would drive and disappeared into the hills. Glanton ordered a goat killed, and this was done in the corral while the horses shied and trembled, and in the flaring light of the fires the men squatted and roasted the meat and ate it with knives and wiped their fingers in their hair and turned into sleep upon the beaten day.
Why are we not doing audiobooks? I don't know. That was gorgeous.
Huh?
The beaten day.
Wow.
I think this day is beaten.
Actually, it says beaten clay. They were laying on the beaten clay. I wasn't going to correct it until you made note of it. Do you
Clay
know
and day with the
a CL and a D look a lot alike.
Indeed.
Let's see. Nothing but misery. That's it.
There.
Nothing but misery since you left. Bum, 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 bum. It's almost like, no. So much misery since you left. So much misery since you left.
Since you started the song, really.
I'll get back to you. I'm out of here. I gotta go.
All right.
Cowboy night.
Love you, man.
See you, man.
See ya. Okay, that's it for episode number 195. You can find the show notes at happyhour.fm/195, including a link to the YouTube video where Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Poor thing. And if you support the show at patreon.com/happyhour, you can watch the video version of this with our new subtitled magic that I just figured out. See you in 2 weeks.